This is Cogitations with Carl Hartman, minister at Main Street Church of Christ in Lockney.
Well, good Sunday morning. I hope your morning is off to a wonderful start. I hope that you have great plans today to get out and to find a place to assemble together with those of like precious faith, because it's such an encouragement to get out and to worship together and to study together. I'm glad that you tuned in to 106.1, the Flip FM, this morning for another installment of Cogitations. And today I got two guests with me. I always love to have guests on the show because it's better than me talking to the wall. To have some guests on and some great exchanges. And I have with me today two ladies from Lockney ISD, Katie Cook and Cortney Garrett. And I'm going to turn it over to them for a second to kind of tell you who they are, what their roles are at the school, and then we'll talk a little bit about why they're on the program today and the great things that are going on there at the elementary school in Lockney. So, ladies, tell the fine folks who you are and what you do.
Yes, good morning. My name is Katie Cook, and I am in my 20th year with Lockney ISD, and I have the privilege of working with Kinder First and Second in a reading intervention setting, and I service about 20 kids 3 days a week, and I love the opportunity to get to work with the Kinder First and Second grade teachers, and I love being able to serve in the school in our community that my kids have grown up in.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. My name is Courtney Garrett. This is my second year in Lockney ISD, but my 24th year overall in education. I've literally taught or coached every grade level from pre-K to seniors in my career, but I have to say that my position as the librarian and GT teacher at Lockney is by far one of my favorites. It's an absolute blast. I get to see every kid in the building for library classes every week, as well as work with our 12 GT students with different projects and activities to extend their learning. I also help Amber Graves, our student success coordinator, with some campus-wide events that we like to do throughout the year, and we'll talk about some of those a little bit later. But it's been an absolute joy to be in Lockney. The people are great, the kids are great, and then we have a lot of fun.
Oh, school should be fun. Learning should be fun, and learning can be very fun. Both of you are kind of in a niche I like. I like to read. But I don't read for entertainment. I like reference. I do a lot of research, boring research, and I read for knowledge, not just for entertainment. But all three of my kids love to read, and they read for entertainment. A lot of times they just rather read a book than even watch a movie because it just stimulates the mind so much more. I know a gentleman in Alabama you'd probably love to meet one day. He was my history teacher at Heritage Christian University when I was working on my degree in Bible, and he has the largest library in the state of Alabama, probably in the whole Southeast, personally. Wow. His shelves are so close together, if you want to look on the shelf behind you, you have to go to the end, turn around, and come back in facing the other way. You cannot turn around inside the walkway. And he even has, that's one library location. The books at another one is actually a massive silo that goes from the floor to the ceiling and has one of them long ladders you climb that rolls around it. Yeah, he has thousands and thousands and thousands of books, and he can tell you where every one of them is. Crazy, crazy. But today, I know we got a lot of things to kind of share and talk about. Like you said, you have a lot of things that are year-round and these projects and programs. But I know there's one in particular that's coming up real soon, and that's Career Day. And, you wouldn't think of Career Day at an elementary school, right? Is it for elementary?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. You wouldn't think of a Career Day. But when I was initially talking to you about the program and Career Day at an elementary school, I thought of Proverbs 22:6, and there's very few translations of the Bible that actually translate it right. And it's that one that a lot of parents dread, especially if your kids have gone in the wrong direction. Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. That should is actually would. It's not should in the Hebrew language. Interesting. And so it's train up a child, basically what the Hebrew word means, according to their inclinations. their interests, which makes a lot more sense. Not all of the Proverbs are dealing with religion. Some of them are just dealing with life. And so if you have a child that's, let's say, interested in playing music, if you cultivate that, well, as they go through life, that interest is going to stay with them. But if you force them into something they don't have any interest in, because maybe that's your passion, well, as soon as they're out of the house, they're going to drop it, right? And that's why I thought of the career day, and even at elementary, they're already developing interests. And if they can connect that interest to a career field, well, when they get in that career field, they'll just be so much more successful because that career field would match their passion. So tell us a little bit about the plans you guys have right now for the career day.
Okay, we have several guests that will be coming to speak to our kids, and we have it set up to where it'll be an entire campus event, and they'll rotate in about 20-minute increments to be able to see every career speaker that's coming. And our hope is just to show the kids that there's a wide range of things that they can do. And, college isn't for everyone. And as elementary teachers, we've really made a push of, vocation trainings are great and community colleges are fabulous. And so we just want to exhibit jobs that you can do with a college degree or even without. And so, Mr. Michelson, our principal at the elementary, his daughter works for KCED, and Brittany's going to be coming and talking about the things that they do there at the news station and about being a newscaster and a journalist. Felipe Azua is coming and representing the military, and then Anna Sherman and Dr. Stewart right here in Floridata with Floridata Family Dentistry. They're going to come and talk about teeth and all things dental hygiene, I guess, and then a police and fireman. We also have a vet coming from Lubbock, and then Chad Cook from Bear Crop Science will be representing the farmer / seed business. And then we hope to have a couple more other guests that I haven't had confirmed yet, but just to have kind of a fun 1.5 to 2-hour event that the kids can participate and ask questions. And I hope that, some of the speakers bring fun little things for them to take home to remind them of what they learned about those careers and what's needed in order to pursue one of those.
Mm-hmm. And I love that Katie has put this event together. The first Tuesday of every month is our College and Career Day, campus-wide. Teachers wear their college alma mater shirts. We support our favorite teams that way. But we also try to support our Air Force, our military. Because, again, college is not going to be for everyone. It may be a trade school. It may be a military. It may be a community college. So this really does kind of piggyback and tag along with what we try to do on a monthly basis of where are you going? What do you want to do? Because all kids, they all feel out, when I grow up, I want to be A. And it doesn't always turn out that way. But, for us to take a field trip to a dentist office, a vet's office, a news station, a farm, all of those, you're looking at several days out of the classroom, plus the expense of doing that. So having all of these people being able to come to our kids for one day in the setting, I think is going to be great, where they can be hands-on and ask questions. Do you have to go to college for this job? How much money do you make for this job? Is this job dangerous? Maybe they don't realize it actually is, and they think, oh, maybe I won't do that. So I think it's going to have a lot of great information for them, and to see those people in real life, in person, being able to talk to them, it's going to be wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of paths in life, and sometimes we don't realize that. And in different seasons, things may change. I know I didn't walk onto a college campus until I was 25 or 26. And oddly enough, when I walked on the college campus, the first thing they did was just hand me an associate's degree, because I already had accumulated through the military what was required for that degree. And I knew in high school, even my junior year, I was done. I was done with school. I didn't want to go to college. And so I actually joined the Navy the summer between my junior and senior year in what's called the delayed entry program. So I still went my senior year, graduated 6 days after graduation. I'm in San Diego from El Paso, going to Navy Basic, and learned a lot there. probably would have stayed in 20 years in the Navy, but my wife had other opinions. But I still, after got out of the Navy, later on I went in the Army National Guard for 9 years and then ended up someplace where the Army Guard didn't have any vacancies, so I switched over to the Air Guard for 5 years. So I got to experience the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force. Navy's still my favorite, but don't tell the rest of them. So there's a lot of paths, and you learn a lot of things. I know my daughter, she was going to be a nurse. She had a full ride to nursing school. She got through the first semester into the second semester of nursing and found out that's not the path for her. And it's okay to change lanes.
Absolutely.
You don't know everything about a career when you walk into it. So now she works in dentistry. You got a dentist coming. She discovered that was her passion. She finished out 2 years at the same place where she was going to nursing to get an associate's degree in medical science or biological science or something like that, and then went right into working in dentistry, got in a good program. Her husband's in the Army, and there's actually a degree program that pays for her education in dentistry while she's working at a dentist office. Everything's online. The dentist signs off on the hands-on. And at 19 years old, she started in a dentist office at $18 an hour. And every skill set she got signed off, the doctor raised her pay $2. And so now she's making near $30 an hour with an associate's degree, just getting different certifications signed off. And she loves it. That's awesome. And so you find something you love and you cultivate that. And this gives these young folks an opportunity to learn a little bit more about other careers and what's really in it. And you talked about danger. Dentistry.
Yes.
There was a young lady we watched in Selma, Alabama. She was in the same grade as my son, and her mom went to the church that I was preaching at there. And so she would come to our house after school till Mom got done working in the dentist's office. She wouldn't come in our house. She said, because I'm covered, my work clothes are covered in teeth debris, dental debris, and it can be toxic. So she doesn't come in, and she actually got a clean room at her house where she disrobes from her work stuff. So you'd never think dentistry would be. So it gives them a lot of information and a lot of knowledge about these different careers. So what else about Career Day? Anything else about Career Day before we move on to other stuff? I know you got other stuff. You kind of mentioned things throughout the year, right?
We have a lot going on all year.
Well, what else you want to share? What else is going on all year?
How much time do we have?
You have 17 more minutes.
Oh, okay, we'll do our best.
Okay.
Let's see. I tried to kind of group these as kind of the content or the area that they best fit in. We try to do a lot of things to encourage kids to have healthy habits. So in the fall, we do Red Ribbon Week. We have dress-up days for those each day, little prizes for the kids. We have different lessons that we do each day of that specific week to really highlight. Say no to drugs. They're not good for you. Just stay away from them. We also do a Walk Across Texas challenge through the Extension office here. Helps really support that for us. The kids are encouraged to, with their class, walk a number of miles each day, track those and see if their class as a whole can literally walk 832 miles across Texas. Again, they have prizes for those. We have diagrams up, the maps are posted so they can see their progress, and they really get into that. It's funny, I'll have kids when they come to library, instead of wanting to go to a beanbag and read, they'll say, "Can I walk laps around the library?" Sure you can.
And we had a couple of teacher teams that competed against a county competition against Florida and Lockney, so that was kind of fun to have that as well.
So, and actually, let me throw this in. The overall individual winner for Lockney and Floydada for the whole entire challenge was from our campus, Miss Jen. 676 individual miles for either walking or exercise. I mean, she was a beast, and she was on my team. So I was glad that.
Yay, my team!
Yes. We also do a Kids Heart Challenge. Our nurse, Brittany Donovan, puts that on for the kids. We come have a speaker that introduces that. It used to be the jump rope for heart, hoops for heart. It's kind of evolved to Kids Heart Challenge, but we encourage the kids to raise money to support that as well. We do a lot of things for social and emotional awareness for our kids. They do have some video links that they watch in their classrooms weekly basis for different topics, handling conflict, how do you handle emotions, those kind of things. We also did a school-wide Orange Day for an anti-bullying awareness in October. And then follow that up in November for National Kindness Week. So Ms. Graves came in the library, read a book on kindness. All the kids talked about what it means to be kind. We made paper chains. We've taken their pictures. I mean, it's just been everywhere. So that was a really fun week that we've continued to try to hit on and encourage the kids to do all year long. We try to do some things with a global perspective. We did a really, really big Christmas Around the World project this year that we will probably do again. Each of our grade levels chose a country that they wanted to research and link into for how they celebrate Christmas in their country. So we had Mexico, China, Brazil, Germany, the Netherlands, France. I might be leaving one out. I think we had 6 or 7. But the kids absolutely loved it. And then to kind of culminate that event, all the kids toured all of the other, quote, countries. So they had their own little passport. They got a passport stamp. They got to go see what kind of foods they eat, different clothing, whole hallways. I mean, the whole school was completely transformed. And it was absolutely amazing, all the work that the teachers and kids did.
It's a really cool event because, as Courtney was pointing out about the career day, that a lot of these kids don't have the opportunity to go and see and do some of the things that we want them to learn about. And so Courtney and Mrs. Graves do an amazing job bringing those things to our campus and letting kids experience, like a passport and all of those different things and why we need those and why they're important. And I think those are things they'll remember forever.
Yeah.
But that was a really cool event.
Yeah. So if our kids can't go to China someday, I've been to China, I probably would not go back. If they can't go, we'll do our best to bring it to them. So, and this is an Olympic year. There's Summer Olympics this year in Paris. And so we did an Olympic theme, kind of a star testing, but also for our younger kids, some fluency and some behavior kind of motivational type things. So we had an opening ceremonies. Our kids designed their own grade level flags. We talked about the Olympic torch, the relay, all those different kinds of things. So we had an opening ceremonies. The kids could earn gold medals for different things throughout those 6 weeks, I believe, that we ran. And then had a closing ceremonies where our kid actually got to go on the medal stand and got their own gold medal.
So fun.
And it was the coolest thing because we'll have 5 or 6 kids that show up wearing them every day since then. So they're just so proud. But they've worked really hard. So, but that's an experience again. I mean, who is probably going to have a chance to ever go to an actual Olympics, But it's just something that we can do that kind of helps motivate them and kind of keeps them going, especially during the springtime. We do a lot to try to celebrate our kids. We give an attendance trophy each week to the grade level that had the best attendance for the previous week. And they really get excited to hear that announcement on Tuesday mornings of who gets that trophy. And we do an attendance pizza party at the end of each 6 weeks for our grade levels that have the best attendance. And they get really excited to get the pizza party. We recognize our Little Longhorns of the month. At the end of each month, one student is chosen from each grade level that was, maybe not the top overall academic student, but maybe showed great growth or improvement or has seen some change maybe in some behaviors or things like that. So we have a Student of the Month recognition. And we've transformed our entryway trophy case into our Little Longhorns display. So their pictures are there and they get a pizza coupon and those kind of things. Let's see.
One of the cool things about Lockney is that we've gone to the 4-day school week. And so this year I find it very interesting when I'm out in public in different places, people will ask, what do you think about that? There's a lot of districts that are, kind of thinking about going that way. I know Abernathy is going to a 4-day week in the spring of next year. And so one of the things I feel like we've benefited at with the elementary is on Mondays, they have that day set aside to do tutorials and some one-on-one different things with the students. And I do believe we've seen a huge increase in interest in showing up for that Monday and also the kids performing well on their tests. So the 4-day week has a lot of benefits district-wide, but for us at the elementary, I think the teachers having that special time carved out that they can just meet with those groups. And I've been really surprised and really proud of the parents for making sure to get the kids to school on those Mondays, even though not everybody else is there. They're still committed to do that. And I think we're seeing some really good things from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
That's one of the biggest things I learned. I was working on a PhD in organizational leadership with an emphasis in effective schools. And one of the courses was studying different models like that throughout history. And I've even experienced some in other countries that would have, one place had school Monday, Tuesday, you were off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you had a break in the middle.
Oh, wow.
And then another one was Monday through Thursday, off on Friday. So you had a 3-day weekend on the other end. But how do you utilize that day? Because not every kid learns the same way. And a lot of the programs you're bringing, career days and the health, and that brings another aspect, another angle on learning, but also having that opportunity to get that one-on-one and that extra help. I had a young man in Selma, Alabama. I was teaching at a private school there while doing youth ministry at a congregation, and they labeled the A group, the B group, and then they just kind of skipped to the F group. And teachers would say some disparaging things about these students, and I would just have to get on to them. I'm like, they learn different. And one young man that I really kind of stood out to me, well, academically, he struggled. But you could walk into a room, dump out buckets of engine parts, come back at the end of the day, and he's built an engine.
Amazing, yes.
Right? And he is smart in a whole nother arena when it comes to that mechanical sense and that mechanical just intuitiveness to be able to do those kinds of things. But it's great that all of those programs are there and available. But I know those things probably take two different resources. Time being number one and money being number two.
yes,
Because a lot of the stuff that you get is not free.
that's right.
So we have about 7 minutes left, and then you might have some other stuff to share. But think about, as you're sharing whatever else you guys have for programs and stuff, because at the end, I'm going to come back to this question: how can the community help you support these activities?
Okay. All right. We will come back to that later, but we do have in our own little Lockney community, our little Longhorn Parent Club.
Yes.
And they are amazing.
Absolutely.
They work really, really hard. They have monthly meetings. They do all sorts of things to provide classroom assistance for teachers. Teachers can fill out a funding request. I need a class set of headphones, or I need CD players for books, for kids to read books out loud. I need this, I need that. And they are always so willing to jump in and support not just the teachers, but our whole campus and our kids in any way that they can. So they do a really great job. We are also very lucky. A lot of places have cut all of the extras, if you want to call them that. We are lucky that we have not. We have a wonderful music program. Miss Rumble is our music teacher for pre-K through 5th. Our 5th graders this year have also started doing band. So they're on instruments, and they're starting to decide, do I want to be on the trumpet? Do I want to be on the percussion? And they're getting some very personalized attention with that to try to feed into our band program, which is doing amazingly well also. Our kids still go to a computer class. They have a PE class every single day. They have a library class every single week. Our GT kids have pull-out classes that they get to come to twice a week. So we really do try to provide for and service and educate the whole child.
Exactly. Well, and it's interesting because a lot of times in education, we spend so much time, first of all, talking about a test, and second of all, reaching the kids that need to perform better on that test. And one thing that I think we have done a great job, and a lot of that has been the addition of Mrs. Garrett, but we're reaching those kids in the higher level thinking. Like you were talking about the mechanic putting together the engine. We're working to find and pull out those kids and see if we can find a way to bridge what they need to know on a test, so to speak, but to apply that to what they can do and how they can perform well at both things. And so I think as a campus, we do a great job trying to to find programs and find pull-out classes and personality things that help all the kids, not just the low kids, not just the high kids, and not leave out anyone. And, she referred to our band program. That's something, a really great example of they went from not performing very well in their competitions to going to state this year. So just a little bit of dedication and just a little bit of training goes such a long ways. And I think we're seeing that in a lot of things within our entire school district.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. That's one thing I've kind of discovered myself over time. And you hear it clinically, but then to experience it's another thing. But every child learns differently. But in the classroom, we just tend to have this standard way of teaching. Your Mondays, they offer an alternative, I believe, to that in that one-on-one. But I did that in an environmental science class. I had that F group, and I inherited it 7 weeks into the school year because the guy that was teaching it just had them copying the definitions out of the back of the book 7 weeks straight. That's all they did. He'd go in there, tell them to get started, go to the coach's office, and that's where he'd stay until the headmaster walked in, and then he didn't have a job anymore. And he asked me to go down there and teach it. I told them to get their textbooks out. So they get them out. They immediately turn to the glossary to begin to copy words. I go, no, turn to the table of contents. Let's look at it. Pick 10 things that interest you. We listed them on the board. I said, now put your textbooks in the back of the classroom on the shelf. You're never going to see them again. And I handed out new textbooks. They were empty spiral notebooks. Said, we're going to build our own textbook as we explore these things together. And that was better for their learning. But there's a lot of ways that kids can learn, but that comes back to time. You got to put that individual time in, and money, because some kids might need manipulatives to help them learn. Some might be visual, and they need those visual presentations. Some are audible, so they might need those headphones or something and to be able to listen. So what can the community do beyond the parent group? Because parents, they're already paying for the clothes, paying for this, paying for that. So how can the community as a whole support you?
I would say, number one, if you're on Facebook, go to our Lockney Elementary School Facebook page and just look, scroll through and see all the amazing stuff that happens. So many news outlets, thankfully not this one, want to find, the sensationalized story that's going to make headlines and it's going to tear somebody down. But there's so much good that happens in our schools. And so we really push to publicize that and to put that out there. So go to our Facebook page. Just take a look. If you see an announcement that there's a fundraiser,
participate.
Give a kid $5, for the Kids Heart Challenge. It will make their day. They will absolutely love it. So any fundraisers that you see going on, participate in those as you can. If you want to just call the school office and say, do you need a volunteer? We are always needing substitutes, volunteers, different things like that.
Just even simple things like reading with a kid. There's so many of our students that don't have somebody at home that will sit down and read with them, and that's important for them to hear adults reading to them, and them reading back to them as well. And I think if somebody wants to make a donation of some sort, I think books, a lot of our kids don't have books in their home. They don't have books their level in their home. So that's always a really great thing for us to receive. And back to the Parent Club, they do, they have a request form. So if teachers have a need, they can fill that out. And if they have a process, and we'll supply what the teachers need in the classroom. I know they've done things like the egg hatching for pre-K and different things like that provided really cool hands-on learning experience that didn't have to be the expense of the teacher.
That's right.
All right. Well, our time is just about expired. 30 minutes goes by fast, doesn't it? Y'all were thinking about, man, how are we going to do 30 minutes? 30 minutes flies by. Well, I thank you guys for being on the program today so people don't just have to listen to me talking at the wall for 30 minutes. And I hope you all have a lot of success. I hope people out there listening will do that. Go to the Facebook page, look at the opportunities to help, and will help. To the listening audience, I encourage you to do that, and I thank you for tuning in this Sunday morning, and I look forward to being with you again next Sunday at 9 a.m. here on 106.1 The Flip FM.
Tune in next Sunday at 9 for another edition of Cogitations with Carl Hartman, minister at Main Street Church of Christ in Lockney.